everybody, welcome. So yeah, let's welcome. So basically, in this reading, this is gonna be for reading for Aries, and it's gonna be for a reading for Aries, fire sign. It's a zodiac sign, and Aries is gonna go for at least for September 2nd to September 12th of 2025. So this is gonna be for a reading for Aries. I hope that Aries can try to pay attention to this. The way how it is, and between if you're an Aries man or an Aries woman, it all depends on your point of view. But the way of this is you have to try to do what you can to promote what you're doing, but then you have to try to understand how it seems to be. I'm so sorry that my voice is a little bit quiet today. I'm so sorry about it. But the way of this is the way how it goes, and this is the way it seems to be. I know that how things are in that way, and it's the way it happens, right? So that's how it goes. But the way this is the way it seems to be. This is how it's going to be. For this oracle card, it says patience. Accept that everything happens in divine order. You know, patience is the way how you can do it, the way how you can understand it, and that's how it goes. And you have to understand that. So when you have patience, you have to be patient. You're trying to not be impatient because you want things to happen in the right perspective. But the way how this is, you're trying to understand right. So you have to understand about when you have patience, you have to pay attention, you have to do exactly what's right, not what's wrong, but that's how it goes in that way. You have to try to proceed what you're doing in that way because you have to go with the flow. That's all you can do. But then this is the way it seems to be. You're trying to know what it takes in that way. You're trying to understand about how it's going to be, So when you're using patience, you know how it goes in that way, alright? So that's how it goes. So I'm going to see what's going on with this reading for you, Aries, because I'm trying to see what's going on in this entire perspective, because this is the way it seems to be, so you have to know that perspective, that's the way it goes, and it's the way it seems to be, so you have to know about it, but that's how it kind of is in that moment. So, here we go. So in the way how this is, the Hierophant is upright, you want guidance. The Magician is upright, you want to have skill. The Justice is upright, you're telling the truth. The Fool is upright, you want change. The Devil reverse, there's no obsessions or addictions. The Ten of Sorcerers, there's no conclusions. And then Four of Pentacles is upright, where you might represent, maybe looking for money. Maybe you're trying to do that. But the way how this is, you're trying to understand about how you're going to do it. Because this is going to be like a wavelength of how it is. It's like this is not out of control. But the way how this is, it's like you have to know exactly how it is in that way. So you have to exactly how it seems to be. So you have to know what it is, right? So let me clarify. I'm going to clarify the Hierophant, the Devil, and the Magician. So the King of Sorcerers has no knowledge. The Ten of Swords, there's no burdens. The Hierophant is upright, you want guidance. The Knight of Cups is upright, you want fulfillment. The Page of Cups is upright, you want loyalty. Yeah, that's how it goes. Because that's the way it seems to be. So you might be doing it in our Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio in that way. You're trying to have everything fulfilled. You're trying to know what it is because that's how it goes. It's like everything has to be all good, but then you have to understand that, right? This is not short and sweet. This is not the way how it goes, but you have to understand about how it seems to be in that way. That's between this Magician all the way to this Justice card. The Queen of Sorcery, you want to show your independence. The Four of Sorcerers, you're not having a rest. The Knight of Wands, you're not having immaturity. But the Knight of Wands, there's fear. Yeah, because you're having fear. When you have fear, things are not going as planned, but then you have to go with the flow. So, Aries, you have to be patient in what you're doing in that way, because everything has to be all great, but you have to understand that if you have fear, there's something that's happening in that way, and you have to go with the flow, right? So you might be dealing with an Aries, Leo, Sagittarius in that way, because you have to understand what it takes in that way, right? So you have to go with the flow, right? So that's how it seems to be. You might be dealing with an Gemini, Aquarius as well, another zodiac signs and another air signs, but you understand what it takes in that way. What's happening with this Fool card, the Ten of Swords, and this Four of Pentacles? The Judge is already, you're taking action. Knight of Pentacles already, you want trust. The Hermit is up where you want solitude because you might be looking for a soulmate. The Eight of Pentacles here is you're having any perfection. And Ace of Pentacles is where you want prosperity, you want money, you want the way how it works, you want to have your own dignities of how it goes. You're trying to figure out what's right, what's wrong, you're trying to be authentic, because that's how it goes. So it's like you have to have your own basic needs about what's going on in that way, because that's how it's going to be. So I'm going to clarify the left side here. I'm going to see what's going on, right? So, Justice ever, you're telling the truth. The Strength card is alright. You want bravery. The Willfulness is alright. You want good luck. That's how it goes in that way, because everything is all lined up. That's how it is in that way. It's like, okay, everything seems to be fine. Alright, I know what to do, because that's how it goes. And then you have the Tower reverse. There's no transformation. Moon reverse. There's misrotations. And the Empress is alright. You want nourishment. Yeah, because you want to be nourished. As the way how it goes. You're trying to understand that, because you have to be who you are, and you have to know what it is, because you're trying to take your own taste whatever it is, but you have to understand that. What's between this Judgment all the way to this Hermit card? The Hangman is over, you want restrictions. The Magician over, you want skill. And the High Priestess is over, you're using your own voice. Yes, because when you're using your voice, you want to get what you want, because that's the way it seems to be. How it takes in that way, because everything seems to be all great, but then you understand about how you're going to be in that way, right? Everything has to be all great, but then you pay attention on what's happening in that way. What's happening to this Ace of Pentacles here? The Death card is up, you want endings. The Judgment is up, you want to take action. The Devil reverse, there's no obsessions or addictions. The Hermit reverse, you already have a soulmate. But the Fool is up, you want change. Yes, exactly. When you have change, you want to have the liberty to understand that, right? So if you are basically affecting another Scorpio, or you want to know about Scorpio, or you're in love with Scorpio, whatever it is, you know what it takes, Aries. You have to go with the flow. And when things be in that perspective, you want to be who you are, and you're trying to relate of how it's happening in that way. So you have to go with the flow. When you go with the flow, you know what it takes, because you're trying to be who you are, and you're trying to do exactly how it is. So let's see what's going on. So I'm going to clarify in the middle of this situation. The Hangman is upright. Yeah, so you want to have restrictions, okay? So you're being restricted. Now, when you're being restricted, you don't know what to do now, right? So you have to know exactly what's going to be happening, because that's how it goes. So let me clarify. Between the left side, okay? So the Emperor is upright, you want structure. The Six of Swords here, there's no movement. 7-1 upright, you want to feel resilience, alright? So that's how it goes, right? Then over here you have the Two of Cups here, so there's no relationships or friendships. The Four of Pentacles over, you want money. The Knight of Swords here, there's no drama. Full reverse, there's no change. The Nine of Pentacles here, you're feeling uncomfortable, exactly. But the Sun cards over, you want positivity, yes, because you're staying positive, right? But when things are not going as planned, it's like, why are you doing it, right? So when you face, I don't want to cough there, but sorry. You have to know what it is in that way. So if you feel uncomfortable, things are not going as planned, because that's how it goes in that way. It's like, why are you doing it? Because that's the thing to be in that way, because everything has to be all great, right? You have to go with the flow. And when you go with the flow, that's how it goes. What's between the middle and the right side? Two goes so that you're balancing two things at once. The Sun cuts your earth, there's no delusion. The Devil's upright, you're acting like you're having obsessions, addictions, right? You're trying to say like, woe is me, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm going to act like I'm being all evil, I don't want to do it anymore. But you know what, Aries, you need to have your own priorities, because you have to get things done. That's how it goes. So you might be doing this in their Capricorn, you might be doing this in their Leo, you might be doing this in their Leo, Aries, Sagittarius, you might be doing this in their Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, whatever it is, right? It all depends on your point of view. On this side, let's see. The Ace of Cups here is there's no prosperity. The Knight of Cups here is there's no romance. Seven of Swords here is you're not feeling any resilience or deceit. I mean, and Magician is up, but you want skill. Exactly. So things are going to be as they go along, because that's how it goes. It's like there is a pressure point. When there's a pressure point, you know what it is in that way, because you're trying to go exactly how it is. So I'm going to clarify between one row, one row, one row, one row, one row, one row, one row. So I'm going to clarify this. So Five of Cups here is there's no grief. Queen of Cups here is there's no empathy. Five of Swords here there's revenge. Yeah, there's conflict. And the Two of Cups here is there's no relationships or friendships. Alright, so that's the way how it goes. So let me clarify this Five of Cups here. Moon reverse is mismutations, and the Lover is up right there. You're making decisions, right? So you're making decisions because that's all you want, because that's how it goes. You need to understand that. When you make decisions, you have to know what it takes, because you have to go with the flow, right? You have to know exactly how it is, because there is a turnaround point. When there's a if there's a turnaround point, you pay attention to what's going on in that way, because you have to go with the flow. When you go with the flow, you have to pay attention about your life skills, whether you like it or not, whether if it's good taste, bad taste, whatever it is, because that's how it goes. You have your own drawing point of how it goes, right? That's how it seems to be. Because you're trying to use the word patience. You're trying to know what it takes in that way. Let's have some of this Queen of Cups here. The Taurus here, there's no healing. The Hermit here, so you already have a soulmate. The Sun card here, there's negativity. Yes, because you're in between the positive and negative at the same time, because things are not working out as planned, you know? And when you do that, it's like, well, this is like how it is. This is why I need to have all these restrictions, because I'm not having a good day, because you're having a bad day. When you're having a bad day, things are not going as planned. It's like, why are you doing it? Because this is like how it is. It's like, this is not being having your own emotions or whatever you're planning on, because this is how it goes, right? You have to feel how you're doing in that way, because you're trying to go with the flow. And when you go with the flow, that's the way it seems to be. So if you're between, positivity or negativity, it's like things are going to draw into that way. It's like, why? Because that's what it seems to be that. What's this Five of Swords about? The Chariot is upright, you want to make progress. The High Priest leaders, you're not using your voice. Judgment leaders, you're not taking action. Magician leaders, you're not having a skill. The Tower is upright because you want transformation. Yeah, because you want things to be happening all at once, right? When things are changing, you know how it is in that way, because everything is affecting you. Maybe it could be, but you don't know, right? That's how it goes. And when I clarify, that's how it seems to be in that way, because you have to know what it takes in that way, right? Everything has to be all great, but this just seems to be in that way, right? You're trying to get your own motive, because that's how it goes in that way. What's this Two of Cups about? The Fool reverse, there's no change. The Emperor reverse, there's no structure. Devil's upright, there's obsessions, addictions, that's how it goes. So it's like you're feeling like, things are not going as planned. But that's how it goes, right? So that's why it seems to be that. So again, I'm going to clarify this again. I'm going to do a 3-card reading, and it might be a little bit kind of interesting, but the way how this is, I'm going to do a 3-card reading. So between this Sun card and this Lovers, I'm going to do a 3-card reading here. So Fool is upright, there's change. The Hangman reverse, there's no restrictions. The Moon is upright, there's limitations. Yes, because the Moon is affecting you. When the Moon is affecting you, Aries, you pay attention to what's happening, because it's like, well, this is not going to be ending well. No, it's not. Because it's like you're in between negative and positive at the same time. If you're acting like things are not going as planned, if you're having a bad day, if you're, doing that the way how it goes, it's like, why you keep doing it, This is the way it happens. This is the way how it goes. You have to believe that everything's going to be fine, but then it's like, why are you doing it, So you're trying to understand what you want, what you get, because you're trying to survive. You're trying to know what it takes. You're trying to go with the flow, and that's how it goes, right? So you have to know what it takes in that way. What's between this Tower and this Devil here. Wheel of Fortune reverse, you're having bad luck. Lovers reverse, you're not any decisions. Justice reverse, you're not telling the truth. Yeah, because you're lying about something. If you're lying about something, then there are lies, you know? You're not trying to say, oh, I'm not doing it anymore, or I'm going to be, how I'm going to do it. That's how it goes. It's like you have to have your own life lesson, right? You have to pay attention to what's going to be happening in that way. Things are going to be happening all at once, but then this is like a pressure point. If there's a pressure point, you have to know what it is, right? This is the way it seems to be. This is not a balancing act. This is not the way how everything is. So it's like, why are you doing it? So let me clarify this Justice card. The Two of Wands reverse, you're not having a plan. Magician reverse, you're not having any skill. The Knight of Swords, sorry, you're acting like there's drama here, right? That's how it goes. What is Magician about? The Hermit reverse, you're not having a solitude because you're not looking for a soulmate because you already have one. Eight of Swords, right, there's anxiety. Yeah, because you're feeling sad, right? You're trying to get what you want, but you're trying to, see it as you believe it in order to achieve it, whatever it is, right? You have to know exactly how it is because this is not a balancing act. If it is balancing act, you're balancing two things at once. That's how it goes. Previously, right? That's the way it seems to be. And when you do it, that's the way it goes because you have to go with the flow. That's the way it seems to be. What's between this Fool card, the Hangman, and the Moon? The Empress is upright, there's nourishment. Judgment reverse, you're not taking action. The Temperance reverse, you're not healing. Exactly. The Moon is upright, yeah, because there's misrotations here, right? So the Moon is affecting you. That's why it seems to be between negative and positive. What's in the middle? The Ace of Swords is upright, yeah. So there is a understanding here, because that's how it goes. When you have an understanding, you know how it takes, because you're trying to have your own valuation of being valued and how you're going to do it in that way, because everything has to be all good. You're trying to know what it is. You're trying to see how you can do it in that way. So it's like everything seems to be great, but then you have to know about it, right? That's how it goes. So let me clarify this Moon card. The Moon reversed, so there's misrotations. The Three of Cups reversed, there's no celebration. And the Sun of Cups celebrate, there's a delusion. Yes, because when you're in delusion, everything is just all being, you're having your own deja vu moment, right? When you have a deja vu moment, you know what it is because you were having that. And when you do, that's how it goes, right? So when you're having a deja vu moment, that's the way it seems to be. And when you do it, that's how it goes because things are not going as happening all at once, but you know how it goes. You're trying to have your own co-create. You're trying to know what it is, but you're trying to have your own patience. You have to be patient. You have to get what you want, but you have to be patient. That's the way it seems to be. What's this Ace of Swords about? The Eight of Wands reverse, there's no speed. The Empress reverse, there's no nourishment. The Strength card reverse, so you have no bravery because you're being scared, right? Because you're losing faith. Maybe you are, but the way how this is, it's like why are you doing it in that way, right? So I'm going to clarify that again, but I'm going to clarify between the Eight of Swords and the Knight of Swords. The Death reverse, there's no endings. The Fool is upright, there's change. The Four of Pentacles is upright. So you're looking for money in that way because you're trying to want it, you're trying to have it in that way. That's how it goes. And this is how it seems to be in that way because you need to understand that. What's happening with this Death card? The Queen of Pentacles here, there's no insecurity. Magician reverse, there's no skill. The Three of Wands reverse, there's no communication. No, you're not being having your own communication. The Lovers reverse, there's no decisions. The Five of Swords reverse, there's no conflict. The King of Cups is already, you want support. Yes, because you want support because you have no communication whatsoever. And when you do it, you have to understand about this is a brief situation where you're trying to do it. You're trying to retaliate. You're trying to, tolerate whatever it is. But then you're trying to understand that. That's the way it seems to be. It's like you have to go with the flow. When you go with the flow, you pay attention what you want, what you get, what you valued, because you're trying to pay attention. This is why it seems to be that because that's how it goes in that way, and you have to understand that. This is the previous. And when you do it, that's the way it seems to be, because you need to go with the flow. When you go with the flow, you know what it takes, because this is like your own pride and joy. You're trying to understand what you want, what you get, what you proceed. You know how, that's how it goes in that way. What is this strength card about? The Page of Wands is upright. Yeah, so you want to have your own invention, because you're trying to make your own being an inventor, whatever it is, you're being invented, because that's how it seems to be. So it's like things to be in the way how it goes, because you need to go with the flow, and when you do that, that's the way it seems to be. So let's see what's going on. So between the middle and the left, middle to right, Aries, let's see. Two Pentacles here, you're basically unbalanced, right? So everything is like out of your control. That's the way it seems to be. Followed by the Nine of Wands here, so you have no fear. Five Cups here, there's no grief. The Emperor is separate you on structure. The Nine of Pentacles here, you're feeling uncomfortable. The King of Pentacles here, there's no insecurity. And the Knight of Swords, sorry, there's drama here. Yes, it is, because the drama is like almost a part of acting, because that's how it goes. It's like, oh well, this seems to be very interesting. I don't know what to do, because you're facing your own priority, if you like it or not. You're trying to face of how it is, right? You try to understand what you want, what you get, but then it's how it is in that way. It's like, oh, everything's gonna be fine. Alright, I know what to do. But then you know what it takes in that way, because you're trying to have your own decimal point. You're trying to figure out what's going on. You know, that's how it goes. And when things are being unbalanced, or when things are being out of control, whatever it is, it's like, oh, you're trying to say, why me? Why? I don't know what to do. You know, that's how it goes. And you have to understand that. Because there is a silver lining to every situation. You know, that's how it goes, Aries. You pay attention to it. And when you do it, that's how it goes. Because you have to understand what it takes in that way, right? You're trying to get your own point of view, because that's how it goes in that way. Let's between the middle and the right side, please. The Sun card is upright, you want positivity. Just yours, you're not taking action. Three Pentacles is upright, there's excitement. Yes, there is excitement, but you're trying to be between a push and pull situation. Whether you're like, you know, having your own push and pull moment between positive and negative at the same time. But then it's like how it is, right? So if someone's actually pissing you off, if you're having a bad day, if you don't know what to do, that's how it goes in that way. So let's see what's going on with this Judgment. Seven of Wands here, you're not having resilience, but it comes to right, you want entertainment, because you want to be entertained. Obviously it is, but then it's like, why you're going to keep doing it, you know? You're trying to understand what you want, what you get, what you perceive, because that's how it goes. You're trying to play by the rules. You're trying to have your own rules. But it's like, this is like how it is, because you have to understand about how it goes in that way. What's the middle of this situation? The King of Swords here, there's no knowledge. But the Ace of Wands, alright, you want to achieve something. You want to have your own new beginnings. Maybe you're trying to understand that. Because that's how it seems to be in that way. So you have to know about the basics of what you want, what you get, because that's how it goes in that way. It's like, oh, everything seems to be fine. Yes.
Morning, Alex.
So that's how it goes in that way. And let's see what the universe is saying here. Let's see. So I'm going to go from the middle to the left, middle to the right. Queen of Pentacles, yours, there's no stability. Yeah? Two of Cups, swords, the relationships and friendships. Two of Swords is upright. So you don't know which path you're going to take, left or right. So let's see. Nine of Cups, yours, there's no fulfillment. King of Pentacles, upright, there's security. The Empress, upright, you're feeling nourished. Yes, exactly. You're having nourishment. And when you do it, that's the way it goes, in that way. What's at the bottom? You have the insecurity. Yeah, Five Pentacles is upright. You're acting like you're having insecurity, right? Because you're in that circle. You're in your own circle because you're being insecurity, right? So it's like, why are you doing it in that way? Because things are not happening all at once. It is, but you understand what it takes in that way. It's like you're trying to have your own solitude. You're trying to understand what it is. You're trying to know what it seems to be. That's why it seems to be that. You know, that's how it goes. And when you do that, that's the way it goes. what's between the middle and the right side. 3-1 sword, you want communication. Queen cups sword, there's empathy. Page 1 sword, there's invention. Exactly. Because if you have empathy, there's two sides of the story here. One makes sense, one doesn't make sense. That's how it goes. And when you have to do that, that's the way it seems to be. Because you have to show your own, the way how you're going to be doing it in that way. And you have to know, oh, well, everything's going to be fine. Alright, I got this. But then that's how it goes. You have to know exactly how it is. Because this is straightforward. You're trying to understand, but when you have it, you have to believe that everything seems to be fine, but then you're trying to go with the flow. That's how it is. That's why it seems to be that in that way. That's why it seems to be. And when you do that, that's the way it goes in that way, because you're trying to show your own companionship. You're trying to be who you are in that way, because that's how it is. Let's say in the middle of this situation, 2 wands is alright, you're planning on something. Yes, because when you're planning on something, you know how it goes in that way, because that's how it seems to be. You're trying to know what's right, what's wrong, that's how it goes, right? That's how it seems to be. So, that's the way it kind of goes in that way, because that's how it goes, right? So, before I let you go, try to pay attention about how you're going to be doing it, how you're going to proceed with caution, how you're going to do it. And when you have your own, have your own planning, and when you're going to plan on that, you're going to use your own patience. That's how it goes, Aries. Because you have to know the basics. You have to know exactly how it is. You're trying to play your own rules. You're trying to figure out what's going on, because that's how it goes. You have to know it. You have to believe it. You have to have your own commands, whatever it is. You're trying to believe that everything seems to be happening all at once. That's why it seems to be that. So that's why it seems to be that in that way, because that's the way it kind of occurs, and that's how it is. So I hope you all enjoy it. Please understand this. That's how it seems to be, and that's how it kind of goes. So I hope you all like this video. Please give it a like. Please give it a comment if you want, and I'll see you next time. And this is how it seems to be. So I hope you all enjoy it, understand this correctly, and that's how it goes. So I hope you all like this video. Please leave a like, please leave a comment if you want, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Have a good day. Thank you, and bye.